What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Scratch Agency podcast, hosted by Scratch Agents for Scratch Agents. My name's Stephen Turnbull, founder of T5 Insurance Services in Clinton, New York. I'm joined by my co-host today, the one and only, you already know, hold your applause, Mr. Shawn Fitzgerald, founder of Sound Harbor Insurance in Long Island, New York. Shawn, I don't think you know this yet, but we have a little milestone here on the podcast today. This is a milestone. I think we have a record breaker for fourth-time guest on the Scratch Agency podcast. I don't think we've had people on 4 times. I just did a little research while we were talking there. 4th time, Mr. David Watson,
Beautiful.
The owner, founder, guy with amazing hats of RiskAdvisor. And I told a little story. We won't get into the whole story, but I was supposed to be all RiskAdvisored up today with my swag that I got from the meetup in DC, and that just didn't happen. So, but they're nice. They're laying right out, David, on the table at home. So maybe tomorrow's RiskAdvisor day.
What happened specifically that threw you off course? I just want you to say it out loud.
Margot shit all over me.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, so I wasn't going to include that, and Shawn knew that, but he wanted me to say that, so there it is.
You got it out.
I just wanted to hear it twice.
Yeah, Shawn just thinks it's funny anytime there's like a kid problem or whatever, because for the longest time in our relationship, I didn't have kids, and he was always like, "Oh, sorry, the kid." So now Shawn just like, look at the smile on his face.
Couldn't be happier right now.
Anytime I'm like, "Oh, sorry, this happened with the baby," like he.
Or when you tell me like, "Oh, I'm so busy, but you didn't have kids," and I'm like, "Just shut up."
Yeah,
just shut up.
Parents find enjoyment once you finally realize. Like I read something this morning where it said, when I said I was busy pre-kids, was I just like too busy staring at a blank wall? Like, what was I doing with all my extra time?
So true.
You're sick, Shawn, that you get so much enjoyment out of that. Hey, David, real quick before we dive into this, I just wanted to thank you for being there in DC and sponsoring that and being a part of it. Publicly, thank you. It was, man, what a great day we had. Great night.
That was awesome.
I just love being around you. And I've said this story before. Like, you were one of the first people in the industry ever I met when I was first IOA in Nashville, and we had a great dinner there. And that was when you were just getting started with RiskAdvisor and what you've grown it into today. And the team is just super cool to be a little part of that journey and watch you and be a part of it as a client. And I appreciate you spending the time with us in DC there.
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun, and I appreciate y'all thinking of me. And it's always good to spend time with y'all, and also with this partnership. I love it, man.
Appreciate it. All right, so we got a very specific topic that we want to talk about, which is why we're kind of a shop talk episode here of a few updates that are going on. So I'll let you take the ball and run in with it, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about like that history and everything that we've had, the fact that y'all are both RiskAdvisor users. As we are getting ready to release a really big new feature, we're actually recording this prior to any type of announcement on it, and can't wait to give y'all the heads up to go ahead and post this and be the first ones to announce it. But RiskAdvisor is officially making its leap into the AI world, and behind the scenes, there's already pieces of AI in the RiskAdvisor app, and I joked with our team the first time that we pushed any of those components into the application. I was like, well, I'm going to our website. I'm slapping AI on it, RiskAdvisor AI, and our valuation just tripled, because that seems how the marketplace is when it comes to insurtech. Is the things explode as soon as you put AI on it. But no, I'm excited. There's a lot of great AI applications in the insurance space, but what I'm excited about, what we're calling Underwriting AI, is it is something that agents are already doing every single day in their process, whether they realize it or not. And it's one of those things that I don't know any agency who has actually spent time figuring out how much time and how much resources are going into keeping up with this. That I'm just really excited about the fact that, like, without that even being the case, we're going to be able to come in and be able to offer a solution that I really do believe is going to make a huge impact in every single agency.
Yeah, I think it's a huge thing that you guys are doing, and I'm stoked you're coming on to explain it, because prior to this, I tried, and I like tech, but I wouldn't say I'm a tech wizard. So like I went to ChatGPT, try to do a custom GPT where I teach it, take the RiskAdvisor profile, tell me the appetite, And I think it just makes the process so much more efficient. So I would love for you, David, just to dive into exactly what the AI underwriting guide is and how it's
Yep.
just going to make it more efficient for agents that use the platform.
Yeah, so every single agency, and just for reference, right now we're strictly speaking on the personal line side, but every single agency, whether they realize it or not, they have to intake data into their agency. And that's something that we're really focused on, making that as efficient as possible. We've got a couple different avenues already handled with our client-facing quote forms, Zapier, Policy Link for collecting deck pages, and then that agent intake through what we call the risk profile. That's the primary part of our product. And with that, if you're not utilizing RiskAdvisor already, whether that's going straight to your rater, pen and paper, fillable PDF, so on and so on, you're taking data into your agency. And what I've learned from my own agency over the last 10 years, still being in the group chat where these conversations happen every single day, is every single risk that comes through your intake process, there is another process that is not something that's talked about a lot where, all right, now I have to figure out which carriers will write this piece of business. Our agency, we have a sales group chat. So it's like, hey, here's the Zillow link. Here are the details. I'm thinking this replacement coverage. Here are the update history. This zip code, this county, where should I go? And I'll pay attention to this group chat over and over again. And 3 or 4 people are getting involved. If you pay attention to any type of productivity, whether it's a book or someone talking about it, anytime that your attention has to shift from what you're currently doing to thinking about something else, it's not just the 5 minutes that you're losing. It's really 30 to 45 minutes that you're actually losing of productivity. And so what we're doing is we're taking those decisions that are all contained in underwriting guidelines and literally bringing that into the intake process and making it simple with green, yellow, red light. Green light, these carriers are good to go based on the information you provided. Yellow light, there's an underwriting concern or something you should know. Like one of the examples might just simply be like, hey, all good, but it's over a certain dwelling coverage, so you're going to have to refer it, and it's going to require an interior inspection. Is your prospect okay with an interior inspection? And then red light is going to be the carriers that, because of X, Y, and Z, with the reasons why it's ineligible, do not waste your time. And so what we've been kind of figuring out is that on average, on the agents we talk to, they're spending about 10 to 15 minutes per carrier quote, and on average 10 to 15 carriers. So let's just say 10 and 10, that's 100 minutes. That's over an hour and a half quoting. If we cut that down by 60%, then you just saved an hour per quote, if not more, without having to incorporate your team and keep it updated. So I just went on a long rant there, but that the basics of it is using what you're already doing with your intake process and turning that into just receiving and actionable insights of exactly where you need to go, whether it's sending it to your rater, to a VA, to a platform like Gaia, or just going to the carrier, because now I only have to go to 2 to 3 carriers instead of 15 and getting the quote immediately from there.
Yeah, that
is. Go ahead, Shawn.
No, you go.
No, he says no. Is for guidelines and everything. We were talking before we recorded. I had to stop the both of you because I wanted to talk about it further when we were recording. But is it going to be, so you said personal line, so home and auto guidelines and everything is going to be mixed into that for the, so if you're doing just a home profile, obviously it's just going to pull up the home guidelines, whatever. If you're doing a home and auto package, it'll pull up both.
Yeah, so we'll launch it with home, auto, and umbrella. And then if they're based on the guidelines, if there's any carrier that will do all lines that are listed on the risk profile, there will be a separate bundle option that will be the default. So that way you'll be able to start off with the bundled option, which is probably the most preferred. And then if you need to, you can separate it by the additional lines of business to, hey, I might need to put the home because it's coastal over here with the auto going here and the umbrella somewhere else. So in our plan on that is to continue to refine that after we release this, to where you as an agency owner will be able to go in there and say like, hey, here's my ranking of my carriers. So that way I can push and recommend the first option where maybe I get the largest commission check, or I'm trying to make bonus by the end of the year. So let's recommend that one as the preferred option. But it's going to be really insightful with that, to make those recommendations.
Yeah, it's going to save a bunch. It's going to save a bunch of time. I'm even thinking about like, so like I still go through the process myself. Ryan does, I don't know, freaking 20 a day at this point. But like we literally go in there, and then at the end when you can check off like, hey, send to VA to quote, and then which carriers you specifically want, I could already see, instead of me sending 7 to Michelle, I can be like, hey, just quote these 2 because this one, the roof is over 20 years old and it applies ACV and, whatever. So yeah, I think that's great. We talked offline about this, but I think it would be good to share with the audience. I have a few carriers. They decide they want to update, maybe because I'm in a coastal area, they want to update, their guidelines every 6 months, and now they don't do 1 million dwelling, they do 3 million dwelling. Is it going to be like, if it doesn't integrate with RiskAdvisor, is it going to be easy enough to like update that in the system?
Yeah, so the way the AI system is going to work is really, really easy. We don't have to work with your carrier out of the box, because literally all you're going to have to do is go add your carriers, drag and drop the necessary documents, and the AI will learn from that and extract the rules. And so if it is one of those carriers that changes once a quarter, out of the box, the first step along the way is going to be just simply replacing the current document with the new one.
Yeah.
We have plans, and we're intentionally keeping that as a manual step for a couple different reasons. One, Shawn, if you upload a document, that document's not going to be shared with Steven or any other agents. Most of these documents are behind a carrier login. They're considered proprietary documents. And so we've been with my background as an agency owner, my background working on some of these carrier advisory councils and things like that, we're being extra cautious. Now, every conversation, every carrier we've talked to, all of them think it's awesome. None of them have any issues with you uploading a document. All of you are at some point have uploaded one of these documents to ChatGPT, which is much, much less secure than what we're going to be doing. But we want it to be extra cautious. So that way, what we can do is take the data of the stats and be able to go to a carrier next year and say, hey, agencies who are using RiskAdvisor to quote with you, their quote rate with you might be going down, but the bind rate has gone up. Mm-hmm. So then the story we tell to the carrier is, hey, every home quote is $10 to $20 just to put the quote in the system. We just saved you that underwriting expense. That doesn't even count the ones that we've all done where we have written a policy, it's gone through the system, it's been issued, it was never eligible, and then inspection catches something that we have to do a cancel rewrite. So then you add the cost of the inspection, which is another $150. And so the story we're going to be able to go to these carriers and it's like, hey, we're saving you money. Let's form a partnership. If you have an API, anytime you make an update to your underwriting guidelines, just send it to us and we'll update it for all your agents in that state. Worst case, get us on your email list that anytime you make a document change, send that to us and we'll update it for you. So there is a very clear defined path to scale this to make it where each of you don't have to upload the same documents, but there's a very intentional path to make sure that we're doing it the right way at the beginning.
It's so good. I love that. I love that spin on it too. I just wanted is there more on this topic? I wanted to change something real quick, but is there more just on the new feature you want to talk about?
No, go for it, man.
So just real quick as a recap, I joked in the beginning that David's been on for 4 times, but Shawn and I have had an influx of newer agents either completely going scratch or in the first like 6 months or whatever reach out recently. So if those are you listening to this, episode 25, episode 59, and episode 117. 25, 59, 117 is where we've talked to David. You can learn more about the story and everything behind RiskAdvisor. With that being said, David, I'm not going to let you get off the call without asking what's next. I
Yeah.
know the way you're wired, and I know what's down the tracks.
He's adding flood. He's adding flood.
The gentleman in the back. Yes, sir. Please.
Uh, I like, if you're listening to this, if you subscribe to the podcast, I just want to point out the fact that we literally scheduled this podcast to tell the Scratch Agent podcast first about what's next. And the question came up on the podcast of what's next. Like, you told us about what's next. What's next again?
That's right, baby.
Just wanted to point that out. I got the hard hitter here.
The 1-2
Never
yeah,
satisfied.
So it's interesting. Like, to be like candid for a moment, like, if someone cancels or doesn't sign up for RiskAdvisor, one of the main reasons is, hey, your forms have too many questions, which I totally get that. Like, I know, like, I lean on, like, I know there's all these different perspectives of like, hey, I'll give a quote with the minimal amount of information and clean it up after the fact. My philosophy has always been, or at the very least for the second part of my career, has been like, I'm not quoting you until we complete this conversation or I have everything I need to, because I'm not going to put an inaccurate quote in front of you. Like, there's no wrong or right. Like, it is what's right for your agency. But the only reason I say that is because of the fact that, like, for the longest time, and it's always still going to be the case, but for the longest time, the fact that our forms are rigid right now, that ask a lot of questions, that's a pushback for some agencies. And that's something that we've heard loud and clear. I do think that our marketing message changes dramatically with this new underwriting AI to where, like, hey, every single field that you fill out saves you minutes, if not hours, because of it's going to help eliminate the carriers that aren't eligible. So, hey, maybe we do shift our focus and answer those questions on the front end. But that being said, like, one of the things that will be coming up after this is custom risk profiles. So that's going to be a multi-step approach. So the first step is going to be making it to where an agency can toggle on and off if a field's required, and then hide that question completely. Now, one of the things that Shawn just figured out at the beginning of this when I was showing the system, we do have quick send integration features with Agency Zoom, Gaia, HawkSoft, and we're about to release that for Easy Links as well, to where, hey, if it's not a required field on where we're sending it, you can send it at any point of the process. So that's kind of a step towards that. But the next step, the next big thing is you being able to go into your RiskAdvisor account and being able to hide and change requirements of questions that don't make sense for your agency.
Yeah, and for those of you that use RiskAdvisor, I mean, David, tell me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I did this when I first signed up. Is like you have the ability to go into the settings and then do defaults. So like most of the questions you can just default if it's like maybe something you don't need to ask or something where it's the same thing every single time, you know?
100%. Yeah, there's some of those questions that are required that are like yes, no. So you just say no. But this is going to take it to the next step to where, like, hey, I still want that question to show up. I just don't want it to be required. Okay, toggle the requirement off. Or, hey, I don't even want to see it, because I do, like, we hear it and I do understand, like, no matter what, I've got those people in my agency who, if they see something, and if it's already pre-filled, they feel like they have to. And like a perfect example is if you don't write with a demo tech carrier, water heaters are not important to you. I think that changes over the next 2 to 5 years. But right now, if you do not write with a single demo tech carrier, none of your carriers are probably asking about a water heater. And so I, being a coastal agency, I had to deal with that. So that's a question that's on the original version of RiskAdvisor, and it's still there. And so, like, that's going to be a perfect example. Like, hey, if none of your carriers worry about that, then turn that question off and you no longer see it. It makes life easier. So that's the next step. And our ultimate goal is to get to where these forms are extremely flexible. So that way, one, like, you can start adding some of those, what you have in your discovery section now, like the only custom spot of the form, you can add those whatever section you want to. I also want to, like, if one of your discovery questions at the top of the conversation is, hey, when was the last time your roof was replaced? Well, right now you have to add a duplicate question. Well, what I want to do with that, and what we're going to do with that is, hey, sync it with the actual roof replacement update year. So that way, if you answer it up at top, you don't have to re-enter that down to where the underwriting AI is going to be pulling the data from. And then another exciting thing is we're really thinking about clicks, how many clicks it takes to do something. So like a perfect example of this might be, let's see here, siding or foundation. And so like right now, foundation, what you have to do is you have to click on the drop down that opens the drop down. So that's one click. And then you have to actually, let's do siding. So siding, you can select multiple types of siding. So you have to click on it. You have to click what siding types you want and then click out of it. So at minimum, you're 3 clicks, but you could be more. And so what we're going to be doing is I actually ran the reports and I figured out the 5 most popular options for siding. And so those are going to be single click buttons where all you have to do is click one button and it's just going to show up. So you can quickly scan it, click it. But then if you need to get into the other options or select another one, you can. But the goal is for any type of question that has more than 2 responses, so like a yes, no, is we're taking the most popular options and putting 4 to 6 of those at instead of the drop down. So that way you're able to work through this thing even quicker.
Love that. I just want to end off talking about underwriting AI one more time. And one specific thing, like I just realized, like with my agency, is a lot of times, and you touched on it briefly, but I just think it's important we go over it one more time. Is like I'll have where 5 carrier, it might be eligible for 5 carriers, but how do I know which one, does the interior inspection, which one has ACV for the roof, and then talking about the coastal guideline part 2. That'll all be built in there. So it'll tell me, hey, you can't write with leather stocking because it's within 1 mile of the South Shore. So it'll prioritize it.
Yep, exactly. Okay. And so, and it'll mention those reasons why it's putting it into the category. So like if it's green, probably first version of green, it's just going to list the carrier. Ultimate is what we want to do is in the insights, it's going to have like a message that it pops up with, but in the insights, we're also going to come back and add like, hey, again, this is based on the data that you filled out. These XYZ options might actually still matter. Either go back and answer them and get a new insight, or just keep that in mind. But like for the yellow and the red lights, you're going to have the ability to click into those. And it's like some of the yellow options, hey, it's eligible, but it's just letting you know ahead of time, requires an interior inspection, below your binding authority.
Only pays 2% commission.
Yeah, that's something down the road for sure.
Okay.
But like this is another thing, like teaser, like this is further down the road, but I like y'all, so I'm going to go ahead and give y'all another teaser. Ultimate goal with this is with the partnerships that we have planned on the carrier side, but especially on the wholesale broker side, is whether you're going to have the option after some initial conversations and we continue to look to expand this, is our ultimate goal is to partner with wholesale brokers who are looking to grow in your area. And so one, whether, hey, you already work with them, which you'll be able to say that in the system, but if you don't, they're going to, instead of with like the direct carrier where it says, hey, we don't want this business, we're going to allow wholesale brokers to come to us and say, we want this business. And so if the characteristics for Shawn for one of your coastal risks lines up perfectly with X, Y, and Z wholesaler, they're actually going to be able to send you a note there. And if you're already appointed, great, just one click send over to them like you already can. But if you're not already appointed to them, well, a wholesale broker can give you a quote whether you're appointed or not. So it's going to send it over to them. And then if you want to bind it, just get appointed. And so that way, like I personally, like this is a whole nother podcast or talk, but I think when done correctly and with the right partners, wholesale brokers are extremely underutilized in the personal line space. And sometimes a AM Best Lloyd's paper is a better fit than a regional demo tech. That's not a demo tech conversation, but a non-rated or a small carrier that's not going to make it through their reinsurance next year. So our goal with that is going to be to help educate, but also make it easy to remember, hey, I work with this partner, or maybe I should work with this partner.
Love that.
David, I asked you that question on purpose because
of course you did,
to demonstrate that you're not just a vendor that says, here's our system, have fun with it, thanks for your monthly payment. I mean, I just know from our off-camera conversations that it's always the next thing, and there's a laundry list of those. And in your space, it obviously takes time. And what I also want to commend you on is anything that comes out is ready to come out too. And I think that's important, right? And I mean, you guys listen to feedback, you listen to it, and that's why I asked you that question of, what's down the road to get people who maybe are meeting you here for the first time on this, learning about RiskAdvisor for the first time, to truly understand the person behind it. And we just appreciate you debuting the new release on the podcast here, and excited to get that rocking and rolling. But give a last pitch of where people can get in touch with you if we want to talk about the product, just talk about anything you talked about.
Yeah, I'm going to do one more thing before that. Y'all can make the decision if y'all want to cut this or not. This is kind of specifically towards you, Shawn. Another thing that we just had a conversation about is right now, RiskAdvisor pulls in county assessor data, which can be limited. But we're about to partner with a company that is more detailed property characteristics, hazard details. So like, the ultimate goal one day with underwriting AI is that it turns into a sales underwriting AI and starts making suggestions for you to cross-sell X line of business. But you mentioned like distance to coast. So if you turn that on in the system when we release that, you're not going to have to go figure that out. It's just going to pre-fill the distance to coast, distant fire hydrant, fire station, things like that. But then you're also going to have the option to pre-fill the replacement cost, pre-fill you're going to have the option as well to pull in pictures of the house, like all those things within RiskAdvisor. And that's all, like one of our thoughts on that kind of goes along with what you were just saying, Stephen. But our thought with that is like, I realize that majority of agencies are not going to elect to use their credits for maybe the hazard data or the replacement cost data. But we want to make it to where if you want that data, either as a one-off or every single time, you just go toggle it on. Data as a service, it's available for you to use it how you need to. So, but yeah, to go back to what you said there, I am open book, try to be all over Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. We're recording this 4 days before college football season. So my Twitter account is actually about to turn into my bad sports takes and me ranting about officials and all those things. So if you want to stay more professional, Facebook and LinkedIn is probably the spot to do it. But my email is david@riskadvisor.insure. Would love to chat about this. If it makes sense within the demo nowadays, I'm showing you more about what underwriting AI is going to look like. So it's a great time. But like we said, this is going to come out when it's in the wild. So, or right when it's coming out in the wild. So book a demo, and we'd love to tell you more about underwriting AI and everything else that we're doing.
Awesome. Just a reminder, everybody, go back episode 25, which was over 2 years ago, which is crazy. Episode 25, episode 59, and 117 for the other episodes about David, RiskAdvisor, Soul Story, everything. Until then, everybody, thanks for being here. Another episode of the Scratch Agency podcast. Do us a favor, like the show, share the show, and subscribe. But most importantly, remember to dig down deep, believe in yourself, and own your own future. We'll see you next week. Take care.